Hi, this is James from Tabletop Gaming Guild, and today we're going to go over 51st State Master Set. This is a 1 to 4 player game published by Portal Games. Let's go ahead down to the table, and I'll give you a general overview of how to play the game, and then we'll come back and I'll give you my final thoughts. Okay, so this is what a typical setup of 51st State Master Set might look like to start a game. Now, I'll just point out here in the game you have your bricks, your fuel, you have your guns, you have your iron or gears, and you have your workers in the game. You also will have your contact tokens. You have your gray contact, your red contact, your blue contact, and these ones here are just sort of like any contact. You will also have your bullet tokens that work like wild tokens throughout the game, and that's your first player token. And you'll set these up, you'll shuffle the deck. Now there's a couple different decks you can pick from. For your first game you should always basically use the 51st State base deck, but the master set comes with 2 other complete decks. And you can pick one of these ones here. There's either going to be the New Era or there's the Winter deck, and you can shuffle them into the 51st State, but not both if you want. But for your first game you should just play the 51st State one, and you're going to pick a faction. Now you can either randomly assign these or allow people to pick which ones you want. Make it clean in here, we're going to go ahead and put the other ones off camera here, but just to show you, here's the New York, here's the Appalachian Federation, the Mutant Union, and the Merchant Guild. So we'll go ahead and we'll just play with the Merchant Guild for right now. Now, you'll notice that each of these have different sections here, and there's 3 different sections, and a lot of these different guilds will have them slightly different. They'll have slightly different production. Maybe they'll have a different feature or different actions, but each one will be slightly asymmetric. So once you picked your guilds, each player is going to get 4 cards. So you're going to deal out 4 cards, and it's going to be their starting hand, except for they're going to need to look at these cards and discard 2. Now, just to give a general idea on these cards, is they have a couple of different icons on them. One is going to be this distance, and one spoils, and then this is the main thing it does, and this is what it gets for the deal. So when you want to play these in your tableau, the main way you're going to do it is you're going to look at this distance. So you're going to play gray contacts, which are going to again be these little guys right here, equal to the distance marked on these. So you can consider distance as just cost. And you're going to play these areas in the areas on your tableau that match the type. So like if it says feature, these go in features. If it says like open production or production, it goes up here. If it says actions, it goes down here. And there's no real limit to how many you can place in here. They are multi-purpose cards, so they can also be used for deals, which you're going to use blue contacts for deals, and you're going to actually play the distance equaled up here to do that. And you flip those down here. I'll explain what all that means in a second. And again, this isn't a full tutorial. This is just to give you an idea how the game plays. So you'll pick 2 cards. I'm just going to say we could take these 2. And you're going to place 2 at the bottom of the deck here. All right. Now we're going to go through the different phases of the game. Before we do that, also you get to use this really cool first player token for whoever goes first. So put that there. And when each round ends, this guy will get passed along to mark who was first. And the game, just to tell you, the game will continue until someone hits this 25 mark right on the board. And that will trigger the end game. Okay, so once a player gets to 25 points, you're just going to finish the current action phase, and then the game will end. Other than the score that's shown on here, the player will get 1 victory point for each location in your tableau. That won't count RAS locations, which I'll show you what that means in a second, but that is basically your goal of the game, to reach the 25 points, and once you reach the 25 points, to have the highest point score. If there's a tie, then you're going to look at the production goods. The person who had the most production goods will win that. And if you're still tied, the person with the most locations will win. If you're still tied after that, you guys share the tie. All right, to start out the round, what you're going to do is you're first going to do a draft. So the first player is going to pick a card, then the next player, then the next player, and then the fourth player, and the last card is discarded. Now you're going to repeat this process. You go ahead and place out. Now you're placing out cards equal to the player count plus 1, because there's always going to be one that's going to end up being discarded. Now the last player is going to pick one, and you'll go in reverse turn order, and players will pick their cards, and the last one will be discarded. Once you have your cards there, you go to the production phase. When you do the production phase, you just basically gain what it says on the top right here. So we'll go ahead and gain 3 workers, an iron, an iron, and a fuel, and a card. All right, so in player order, you're going to do an action, and there's a couple different things you can do on your turn. Like I said, you could take a look through your cards here, and if you have the proper contact tokens, you can use them to do that. One of the things you could do at the start of the game here is you could also use stuff on your player board. So like this one says, if you spend 2 iron, you can get 2 gray contacts. If you spend a gun, you could get 2 red contacts. If you spend a fuel, you can get 3 blue contacts. So as the Merchant Guild, this one is trying to get you to have more production. So we're going to go ahead, you place this on the mat so you know you actually did the action, because you can only do these once per round. I can go ahead and get my 3 blue contact tokens. I would then let the next players go, and when it comes back to me, I could take a look at my cards and I can increase my production. So instead of putting these in my tableau and getting the benefits on here, I can say, well, what goods do I need in the game? So you can look at these blue sides. Now I may want the bullets because they're wild. I could use them for whatever. I could use like an any color contact token, another card, a gun, or an iron. If I want to use any of these, I will have to pay blue contact tokens equal to the distance. Now I have 3 of these guys, so I could, on my turn, pay 1 contact token and slip this guy in there. Then it would pass on, and when it comes back to me, I could go ahead and do it again, play another blue contact token, and then I could do it a 3rd time. The Merchant Guild is really good with production. So what this really means is my first turn with the Merchant Guild, I may want to just build up my production. So when the round ends and it comes back to me, I would get all this stuff on top and this for my turn. Now, the other thing you can do is if I did have some gray contact tokens, which this one is pretty bad on converting to gray contact tokens, because I only have 1 iron, I won't really do it, I could place down locations. So this one here is an action, so I go here, this one's an action, and again it's going to be the gray contacts equal to that. Once it's placed, you get the spoils, which are on the right here, so you can get a lot of goods. Like this one will give you 3 bullets and a card. This one will give you 2 iron and a victory point, which will move you along the track, which is the point of the game to win. Now, the workers themselves you can use to move to different places and do different things. I'm going to show you a couple different things that the workers can do. I have 3 workers here. I could discard 2 of these workers and get a connection card. And there's only 1 connection card available per round. And I could grab this connection card in here, and when I want to spend it, I can say, okay, on my turn, I'm going to go ahead and instantaneously get 2 blue contact cards, or contact tokens. And I could use those to place more places out. So if I want to do something like that, I probably wouldn't. I couldn't place any of these out, and I probably would just go nuts. Do that, place another gear token, and have tons of production next round. The other thing you can do with your workers is summon the cards for this production area. Let's see if I can grab some here. We'll let you place workers there, or which includes your opponents. Your opponents can place workers in those areas. Why do I not have one right here? Should be a lot. That, by the way, these will flip each round too. So like this one's here is open production. So if I have this in my area, another worker can come over here and get a fuel. So, or I can place my own worker there and get a fuel. So that's basically what workers could do. You could discard them to get contacts. You can place them on yours or other open production locations. But one thing I really wanted to point out is at the end of the round, so let's say I discard these, I didn't use this worker and I didn't use this iron, and the round ends. I don't want to do any more actions. I passed. Everyone else passes. Once you pass, one of the cool things in the game, well, I guess it's cool in a way because you may want people to use your open production areas, but when you pass, no one can target or affect your area. But once the round ends, all your goods will go back to the supply, so you'll lose everything. The only exception is some of the cards in your tableau will let you like store cards, or store resources between rounds. Those are going to be fine. They will stay there, and then you'll start the new round and get new production. You'll do exactly what we did last time. You'll do your draft, you get your production, you'll do your actions. One thing I wanted to cover, so this will, once that's used, is discovered and discarded, and then you'll get new card will flip. And again, there's only one available per round. One thing I wanted to go over real quick is one thing you can do throughout the game is, I didn't explain the red contact tokens. The red contact tokens will allow you to razz other people's locations, or your own if you want. In order to razz a location, you're going to look at the defense values here, so 3, 4, 5. And if I want to razz this location here, I would have to spend the red contact tokens equal to +1 that location's area, or that location's defense. So if I had to spend 3 red contact tokens, I could destroy this and it gets flipped. When you destroy an area, the player that destroys it gets all the spoils along here. The player who had it destroyed, unless it's the player that destroyed its own property, they'll get this little production thing. So if my opponent destroyed this location, I would get a bullet. This would flip over, and this is razz. This does not count for points at the end of the game. That's basically razzing. There's another thing you can do with locations that are destroyed in your area. You can also build over top of them. And this is one of the actions you could take throughout the game. It's called the build action. Now, normally in a build action, if this area isn't destroyed and you want to build over top of it, you have to discard the card that you're looking at to build over top of it. And it has to meet one of the icons here. So for this one here, the point icon matches, so we can do that. I will be able to discard this card and build over top of it. And then I also have to spend a brick to do that. Now, if you have a location that was destroyed, this location counts as any symbol, so you could take whatever and build over top of it. So that is a nice way to try to get some of these more expensive things in your area as an option. That's basically how to play 51st State. We didn't go over all the rules, but you get the general gist. You're going to be going through the different phases of the game. You go through your production, you're going to go through your actions, and your ultimate goal is to get to 25 points on the scoreboard. Again, once that happens, the game will end on that player's turn, and each player will gain points for each of the locations in their tableau. So let's go back up to the table here, and I'll give you my final thoughts on this game. So I really, really like 51st State Master Set. It reminds me of a game that I really, really love, which is Glory to Rome. So this is basically the same sort of idea as Glory to Rome, and how it uses its multi-purpose cards. The only big difference is, in this game, you really don't have like an out of control sort of win like you do in Glory to Rome. Now you could get some pretty cool combos and you can get a lot of points. You can do a lot of really cool things. You can end the game faster with this, but I like the fact that it's a little bit more controlled game. I like the theme of the game. 51st State is really cool. I liked it with some of the other games they've done through Portal. It's going to be a really good component quality. The only really complaint that I have against the game, and I know if you got the Kickstarter, you did get the extra factions boards, but the game only comes with 4 faction boards. I really wish it came with more faction boards, and I know it's a little complaint. It works really well with 4 players. I sort of like the ability to go a little higher with player count. I don't normally like that, but for some reason this game, I'm like, I would just like more players to interact with the game. But again, that's just me. It's fine with 4 players. It's really good with 4 players. I don't know that it would be better with others. I just have that feeling when I play the game. So overall impressions is the game is really, really good. If you like games like Metaini or Glory to Rome, you're going to probably love this game. So definitely give it a try. If you've never played a game with multi-purpose cards, I highly recommend playing this game to know what all the multi-purpose card hype is all about. This game does employ it very well. Like I said, it's very close to Glory to Rome. So if you like Glory to Rome and you don't have $1 billion to buy the out-of-print copy of Glory to Rome, then 51st State is definitely a great alternative to spending that much money. So that's my thoughts on 51st State. Thank you for watching.